This is bad news. Nuo Yifan murmured to herself as her brows furrowed slightly. What's wrong? Hanli asked. These are warriors of the Golden Mantis tribe, a major tribe of the insect race similar to the 8 holy tribes of our beast race. They're supposed to be quite far away from here, residing near the Divine Elephant tribe and the Falcon Wing tribe. Similarly, the bone needle insect nests are also very far away from here. On top of that, this attack is also one of a far larger scale than previous attacks, Nuo Yifan explained. Are you saying that this is a rather abnormal display of aggression from the insect race? Hanli asked. That's right. While our beast race and the insect race have always been sworn enemies, most of the conflicts that take place between us are distributed throughout the land, and there's never been an attack of this scale in a single place before. Nuo Yifan replied as a concerned look appeared on her face. That does seem rather abnormal. It's a good thing that you've made ample preparations. Otherwise, this place would have most likely already been conquered, Hanli replied. Right at this moment, the 2 armies down below finally clashed as well. The violent bear tribe beings were charging at the forefront, and a series of crimson patterns appeared over their brawny bodies, causing them to expand even further in size. The axes that they were wielding were of a similar size to their bodies, and as they were swung through the air, a series of giant crimson axe projections were unleashed. Even with its numbers advantage, the beast race army was unable to oppose the violent bear tribe at all, and the latter tore through the former's ranks, meeting no equal in their path. The other beast race warriors rushed into the hole in the ranks of the insect race army, torn open by the violent bear tribe, and they were making rapid inroads. Meanwhile, the bodies of the Monohorn tribe warriors began to glow green, and a thick layer of enamel took shape, causing them to also expand drastically in size. At the same time, the horns on their heads had also thickened by roughly 2-fold, while a series of green patterns appeared upon them. Beams of green light then shot forth from the horns toward the opposing insect race army, and these beams of light possessed tremendous penetrative power, with each one often piercing through the bodies of 7 or 8 insect race beings before finally dissipating. The insect race warriors who were struck by these beams of green light were instantly rooted to the spot and immobilized, reducing them to sitting ducks for the beast race warriors. Even though the Monohorn tribe warriors weren't making as bold and violent a statement as the violent bear tribe, the rate at which they were slaying enemies wasn't slower in the slightest. The violent bear tribe and Monohorn tribe warriors formed the spearhead of the beast race army, rapidly plunging deep into the insect race army's ranks. Right at this moment, a burst of peculiar screeching rang out from within the insect race army, and the insect race warriors in front of the violent bear tribe warriors suddenly retreated like a receding tide before countless giant black ants emerged out of seemingly nowhere. Each ant was the size of a millstone with gleaming black bodies that gave off a metallic sheen. Their tiny eyes were glowing an eerie green color, and they presented a harrowing sight to behold. The violent bear tribe warriors roared as they swung their axes through the air, unleashing a flurry of axe projections toward the giant ants. A string of loud clangs rang out as many of the black ants were sent flying, but their bodies were extremely sturdy, and barely any of them were killed. All of the wounded giant ants instantly had their bloodlust ignited, and they began to rush forward once again. The vast colony of black ants formed a black wave that stood in the path of the violent bear tribe warriors, and even more of them were appearing on either flank. The violent bear tribe warriors were still attacking with all their might, but their speed was significantly hampered by these fearless black ants. At the same time, the earth in front of the Monohorn tribe warriors began to rumble and churn, and an army of earthy yellow scorpions emerged. Each scorpion was around the same height as a grown man, and what was particularly disturbing about them was that all of them had human faces. The penetrative power of the beams of green light being released by the Monohorn tribe warriors was significantly reduced upon striking these human-faced scorpions, and each beam of light was only able to pierce through one scorpion before fading away. Furthermore, The human-faced scorpions were only immobilized for an instant after being struck by the green light before continuing to charge toward the Monohorn tribe warriors. As a result, the progress of the Monohorn tribe warriors was also significantly hampered. High up in the sky, the Calm Dawn tribe warriors were occupied by the Golden Mantis tribe warriors, so they were unable to assist their fellow comrades. Initially, the Beast Race army had seized all the momentum, but all of a sudden, they were put in a very awkward situation where neither advancing or retreating seemed like appealing options. The numbers advantage of the insect race army was gradually beginning to manifest itself, and the momentum was rapidly shifting, much to the concern of the Beast Race tribal leaders watching the unfolding battle from the black platform in the sky. Inform Chief Sahan that it's time to strike, Nuo Qinglin instructed in a grim voice. One of the Calm Dawn tribe beings beside him immediately vanished from the spot, departing to carry out the instruction. Before long, a red-robed figure shot out from the front lines of the Beast Race army, then raised both hands to release 3 balls of gray light that appeared above the Beast Race army in a flash. Immediately thereafter, the red-robed figure began to chat an incantation, and the balls of gray light exploded violently, causing the entire battlefield to tremble violently. 3 mountainous figures abruptly plummeted out of the sky, then crashed down at the center of the insect race army. Countless giant black ants and man-faced scorpions were crushed into mincemeat beneath the enormous weight of these mountainous figures, which were 3 gray-skinned giants that were over 10,000 feet tall. Their upper bodies were completely bared, while their lower bodies were covered up by loincloths formed by countless pieces of beast hide stitched together. Furthermore, each of them was wielding an enormous club that they swung toward the insect race army. These gray-skinned giants were downright hideous, possessing giant faces that only had features of a single huge vertical eye, as well as a completely flat and smooth nose consisting only of 2 nostrils. The massive maces that they were wielding resembled giant pestles that ground down everything in their path into pulp, and countless giant black ants were crushed, upon which vast volumes of fluorescent green fluid erupted out of their bodies. The green liquid spread over the ground, corroding everything in their path to send plumes of white smoke rising up into the air. Following a brief moment of panic, the black ants took a moment to rearrange themselves before charging forward once again, quickly surrounding the 3 enormous giants. The ants then began to climb up the bodies of the gray-skinned giants, tearing viciously into the giant's skin with their sharp mandibles, while more fluorescent green fluid gushed out of the mouths, corroding the giants' bodies in conjunction with the slicing effect for their mandibles. The gray-skinned giants were thrashing around frantically while attempting to swat the black ants away with their hands, but these things were extremely stubborn and clung on with all their might. Right at this moment, the sound of a loud horn rang out, and a unit of warriors with human upper bodies and zebra lower bodies appeared behind the Beast Race army. Each of them was holding a large bow crafted from vines, and they were pulling out green arrows that were around half a foot in length each, before knocking them on their bows. Their movements were eerily synchronized, and all of them raised their bows to the heavens in unison. As they drew their bowstrings, azure light began to converge from all directions, forming an azure vortex above the tip of each arrow. The arrows were then let loose, shooting up into the sky before raining down upon the insect race army as an azure volley. The gray-skinned giants were extremely sturdy, and even after being ravaged by the black ants for so long, they had only developed some red spots on their skin. As the volley of azure arrows fell upon them, they were able to remain completely unscathed, but the black ants weren't as sturdy, and they exploded one after another. On the other side, over 1,000 beast race demon beasts that were over 1,000 feet tall and clad in thick yellow exoskeletons emerged. Each of them had a pair of thick conical horns on either side of their heads, and they rushed headfirst into the insect race army with tremendous power. The insect race was at a clear disadvantage when it came to strength and physical attributes, and with the majority of the man-faced scorpion army at the forefront crushed into mincemeat, Their formation was forced back by several dozen kilometers. However, shortly thereafter, the Vajra Spider and Grey-Toad tribe warriors rushed forward to fill the hole, clashing against the Beast Race army once again. It looks like your Beast Race has an advantage now, but they're eventually going to run out of steam, and the Insect Race army far outnumbers you. At this rate, you're going to be defeated, Han Li remarked. It's too early to say that, Senior Li. The battle is only just beginning, Nuo Yifan replied in a confident manner. As soon as her voice trailed off, the sound of dull drumming rang out, immediately followed by some type of strange chanting that was erupting all over the battlefield. The language being used for the incantation wasn't the language of the Beast Race, nor was it the language prevalently used throughout the Immortal regions. However, it still struck Han Li as being somewhat familiar. After listening for some time, it suddenly occurred to him what language this was. This seems to be the language of some type of true spirit. Han Li swept his gaze over the battlefield to find that there were several special gray-robed beings interspersed throughout the armies of the Violent Bear tribe, and the Monohorn tribe, and the Calm Dawn tribe. All of them possessed different statures, but their attire was identical, and each of them was holding a black wooden staff. At this moment, there were many Beast Race warriors dancing around them, and they were the ones chanting the incantation. These gray-robed figures only formed a tiny part of the Beast Race army, yet their voices possessed a special penetrative quality that allowed them to be heard across the entire battlefield, and a peculiar atmosphere was beginning to arise.